What's up, everybody? I feel a little overdressed today. I got this dress shirt on. It feels like super stuffy. Anybody ever seen brass collar stays? My wife bought them for me a couple years ago. I don't wear them often, but they're like real heavy. I feel like I'm walking around with a dumbbell around my neck. But good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Everybody should be happy. The weekend's basically here. Those of you that I know, a few of my friends work 410s through the week, so their weekend's already starting today. Good morning, Helen. Ricky, how are you? Ron Waltersdorf, good to see you. Stephen Ross, good morning. I wanted to share a little something today. I think that we take for granted because we've been doing it for, goodness, almost 15 years now. I was reminded that our company's anniversary is 15 years. I'm not on LinkedIn too much, but I get, every time I am on LinkedIn, I think it's about once a year when I get notices that my professional anniversary is here. So I've recently been getting a ton of messages from LinkedIn about my 15-year anniversary with CR Property Group. It's a big milestone for us. Mr. Baker, how are you? Chris, I'm going to come visit you and Ty up at the home show, I think today and Sunday. If you guys will have me, I'd like to come up to your Facebook Live show and hang out, and we'll talk about, you know, how we've been working together for most of those 15 years I've been in business. I've been working with TC Backer Construction to do all of my exterior roofing and windows and siding and gutters and soffit and fascia. And I'd love to hop on with you. Good morning, Ty. What's up, man? I was just telling Chris, I hope I can join you guys up at the home show today and maybe Sunday too. I'm going to try and make it up that way. I'm headed to the Giants Center tonight. Shout out to People's Bank, Kent Kennerman. Every year they come through with 6 to 8 tickets for their, I guess you'd call it like a skybox up there. Also, Daniel Barker and Members First gave us some tickets. Brian Singer from our office, big basketball fan, was able to go up and take some friends and family along to watch the games this week. Doug Good has daughters that play basketball, and his wife, and they went up yesterday. And everybody's just really had a good time getting up to the Giants Center to watch our local teams play basketball. And I'm finally going to be able to make it up there tonight and then tomorrow to watch the 5A District Championship tonight. I think it's Muhlenberg, and I can't remember who else is playing. And then tomorrow's the 6A, big schools, Reading, and somebody else is playing. But anyway, one of the things that, or two of the things, three of the things, I'll get there eventually, that we offer as a company, I think that is a little unique and our clients really seem to see value in, which is why we've continued to offer these special services, would be when you sell to Integrity First home buyers and you know, have a cash buyer, it makes a few things a lot more easy and can allow the buyer like us to be super flexible. And we're settling on a property today from a referral from a friend of mine, and we made the deal about 2 weeks ago, and we're settling already today, but the seller doesn't want to move for 2 months. She wanted to get the property sold out from under her, get everything paid off and all that good stuff. Get the you know, the taxes settle up, everything's paid, it's done, it's over with. But the apartment building that she's moving into, or the townhouse community that she's moving into, won't be available. What's up, guys? Good morning. How you doing? He looks cold. You better get him a jacket. That's Rob and Matt, my maintenance guys. Great dudes. They keep up with everything for us for all of our rentals. Anyway, so we're buying the property today. She'll get her cash, and then she doesn't have to move for 2 months. So that way when her apartment is ready, she can move out of her house, not have to rush and do it all in one day. And that can be super tricky when you're selling a house and buying another house or moving into a new place. The timing of all that is a lot of times very difficult to get moved out of one place when you're supposed to be out, moved into the new place when it's available. And so we offer the ability to be able to what we call sell now and move later, or move when you're ready. And oftentimes that'll be a month, 2 months, sometimes 3 months between when they physically sell us the property and then when they are required or need to move out. So we're super flexible in working with you because sometimes selling the property may need to happen right away, but you're not prepared or have the ability to move for several weeks or even sometimes months. The second thing that we offer, and one of the things that we see people save thousands of dollars on, is what we call a leave behind program. And a lot of times when we buy properties, the house is filled with stuff, whether it be furniture. There may be oftentimes personal belongings that are left in the home. We buy a lot of properties from estates, and sometimes these homes have been owned by the family for 30, 40, 50 years. And over those 30, 40, 50 years, you accumulate a lot of stuff. And people don't always want to take that new stuff or that stuff out of the house, either to their new place, or maybe they just don't see value in it. And when we buy the property, allow the seller to leave that stuff behind. And oftentimes that can save the seller $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, depending on the amount of items that are left behind. If you were to hire, there's companies called like We Got Junk and College Hunks and, just normal movers that would come and dispose of those things for you. And it can be relatively expensive. If you don't pay for that to be done, it may just take the family or you, weekend after weekend after weekend or tons of time to get that stuff out of the property. Because normally in a conventional contract, if you look at a conventional, the standard real estate agreement, and in Pennsylvania, it says that the property needs to be broom swept and free of debris. So typically when you sell a house, you need to deliver that house to the buyer, broom swept and free of debris. So you would have to remove all of that stuff. Now you can try and negotiate that into a deal. If you're selling with a real estate agent or if you're selling through an auctioneer, you can always request that you leave all of that stuff behind. But a normal buyer, someone that's not going to fix up the house, may want you or require that you clean out the house. So it could cost you a lot of money or cost you a lot of time. Most people we found were planning on taking off using vacation days to move stuff out of the house. They may have planned on, working their weekends and evenings. And sometimes when we buy, an estate, there may be multiple family members that are planning to get together and move stuff out of the property. Not to mention sometimes that can be emotional when you're moving out, a parent or loved one's personal belongings. If they're getting up in age or, unfortunately, sometimes we're buying properties after a family member is passed. And, sometimes moving some personal belongings, whether it be clothing or pictures or stuff out of the property, it can trigger, some emotions that aren't really very fun. So we found that that is very helpful with a lot of our sellers and clients when they're selling a property to us. So we do offer a leave behind program. So those are some things I thought that, not a lot of people talk about. They're not normally offered in a conventional deal. And, I believe, and our customers seem to think that it offers a ton of value. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about selling a house, and if you're facing one of those issues, selling to a cash buyer, an investor, a We Buy Houses company may be a good fit for you. If you have a house that's packed with stuff and maybe you only want to take out, one truckload or one carload of that stuff that you have value in, and the rest you want to leave behind. The reason we're able to do it is because when we remodel the house, 90% of the time we have a dumpster at the property anyway. So for us to just, pay for a day's labor for our folks to put the stuff that's left behind in the dumpster doesn't really cost us much money, if anything at all. It takes, one extra day of labor, and so it's not a real big deal for us, and it saves people a ton of money and definitely a ton of time. So the Leave Behind program, we allow people to sell now and move when you're ready. Those are, two of the things that we see a lot of value in. And, certainly buying the house as is, so you don't have to worry about any inspections. And then the third thing is that we find oftentimes with these properties when we buy them, and every situation's different, but there may be tricky title issues. A property that we're buying today, there was a husband and wife that had owned the property, and the wife wasn't on the mortgage, wasn't on the deed. The husband passed away, and it creates this very tricky chain of title that has to be documented. And John, that's right, it does beat the stock market. John's been texting, and we've been communicating for probably a year to 2 years about him investing in real estate, and he's not quite ready to pull the trigger. And the big dip in the stock market recently has impacted a lot of people. And, investing in real estate, my property values didn't drop, 15-20% overnight, nor do I think they will. But anyway, don't get me off track, John. We're not talking about the stock market right now. We can talk about that another day. But we're able to help with these properties a lot of times where there's tricky title issues, past due taxes. Title issues may look like when you have multiple people that own the property, and one of the sellers is either unavailable, incapacitated, moved out of the area. Maybe that particular person had other debt or liens or judgments that have now been applied to the property, and it makes it very challenging to sell. We're able to work through those legal issues and title issues, and we do that at no cost. We keep and run all of our transactions through our real estate attorney at Blakey, Yost, Bupp and Roush. My buddy Brad Leber's been doing all of our deals for 15 years, and they're extremely skilled in navigating through those tricky real estate liens and judgments and title issues. And, getting everybody on the same page to be able to move towards a settlement date that we agreed upon is a big deal. We often have sellers that'll text us and call us and say, hey, are we good for Friday? Or, are we good for Wednesday? I'm just worried that, something's going to pop up. I've been getting these phone calls and emails, and I'm just really worried about the taxes, or I'm worried about the payoff, and the mortgage company says that they're going to foreclose, or, the utility bills are past due, or, there's a lot of different things that come up in a real estate transaction. And we have the legal support and expertise with our attorneys to help navigate through that. And we do that at our expense. It's part of our business. It's a cost of us doing business. So the seller does not have to A, worry about it, or B, pay for it. So those are three things I think that a lot of people don't know about the ease of selling to a cash buyer. I know, I can speak for our company, Integrity First Home Buyers, that we do offer those things. I don't know that every cash buyer would be willing to foot the bill for those items, or even know how to handle those three things. But keep that in mind if you're thinking about selling. Obviously, I love referrals. I'm also always available to be able to answer questions. If you guys have any questions about real estate, I love talking about it. You can message me if you have a question. If you are thinking about, or someone that might be thinking about selling a home, and a cash offer, quick settlement, you may be a good option for them. I'd love to talk to them. Feel free to share my information, or message me about that. And I hope everybody has a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. I'm excited about our plans for the weekend, and being able to spend some extra time with my family. And I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. Take care, y'all.